Celeste, hello once again.
Hello.
Congratulations on having passed the exam. Where were you when you got to know that you passed it?
Yeah, I got my result on 22nd of August last year. Yeah, because I joined the April round.
Okay, good. I can imagine that you are beyond yourself with excitement. Was it a long journey, would you say? How long did it take you to prepare from start to finish?
Yeah, so my background probably is a bit unusual because I originally started with the QLTS because I'm a qualified lawyer in China. So I joined the last round of MCT. I passed it. So in order to qualify to continue with the QLTS route, I had to pass my SQE2 by the end of 2023. So I passed MCT, I think in July 2021, and I sort of like paused it for a while because I was not sure about, how the SQE is going to roll out, how it's going to structure. So I took a bit time just to see how it's planned and just give myself a little bit time to prepare that thoroughly as well. I sort of like officially or finally started my SQE2 preparations in September 2022. So it's around 7 months before my SQE2 session.
Okay, and what were you mostly focused on over these 7 months? Were you rereading the books? Were you doing mocks? What were you doing?
Yeah, I think I prepared my study plan in a way which I think would work for me because I have a full-time job as well. So in the first 4 months, I predominantly just used my time to revisit all of my, SQE, all of the SQE material and modules, especially focusing on like criminal law, as focusing on area which will be tested out in SQE2. So once I did that, and then I move on to mock tests. Just spend pretty much every day just doing lots and lots of mock tests, just to flesh all of my knowledge gaps and trying to build my sort of language skill and how I'm going to structure my answers, etc. as well, and how to use the time effectively.
Yes,
Yeah,
that
yeah, yeah.
OSCEsmart, you have done quite a lot of mocks.
Yeah,
Okay.
I found
And
that was extremely useful.
good. And most of those were useful, oral or written. Which would you say were most helpful and without which you wouldn't be able to pass?
I think definitely oral assessments, which I struggled the most because I didn't really have the legal practice experience in the UK in litigation. So I found advocacy assessments was extremely challenging for me because of the very tight time frame. So I did a few mock tests on advocacy and interviews with Olga, and I found it very, very helpful in the sense that they gave me the firstly the mindset, what you should be prepared going to those sessions, what preparation, how to use your preparation of time effectively, and how to structure your answer. Just basically present the points in which like the examiner would like to hear, and also the feedback, how to write your attendance notes, etc. And I found that was all I learned that in a very systematic and structured way, and then I found that really, really useful.
Okay, so it's good you've touched upon the feedback part and the fact that you did not take just one mock in advocacy, for example. So I understand that your approach was on booking one mock, then listening to the feedback and incorporating it into your knowledge, into your skills, right? And then repeating it again and doing another mock in advocacy. And the same approach you practiced with the interviews. Is that true?
Yes, yes, that's absolutely correct.
Okay, good. Thank you. So it's mostly mocks, all right, I get it. How do you think that preparation for the MCT contributed to your feeling confident in the SQE2?
Yeah, so again, I didn't have any English law academic background. So starting with MCT was basically the first step. Like I learned English law. And I found it's really important to really make the most of the time and opportunity in SQE1 or MCT to really build the foundation of the basic concepts of English law modules. And then that would give you, save you a lot of time when you go to the SQE2, because pretty much you have already have the basics covered and you're ready to go, build up all the skills and sort of like continue to build your knowledge to the next level in order to pass SQE2.
All right. So for the audience that we are going to have who are going to watch us, just to understand that you take the knowledge base built at the first level, right? For the MCT in your case, for the SQE1 in the case of others. Then to this knowledge base, you add practical training, meaning mocks, both written and oral, repeatedly revisiting those mocks and attending to the interviewer's feedback or the solicitor's feedback, right? Okay, what else did you do? Did you attend our group sessions, the webinars? Do you remember that? Because at OSCEsmart, we also conduct sessions with SQE2 candidates where solicitors interact with one another. It's normally two solicitors, and they explore basic topics that are likely to come up in the exam. So did you attend any of these?
Yeah, I attend almost every single one, and including also the legal theatre. So again, I found that also all of them very useful in different ways. The seminar or tutorial we had with the solicitors, so the way in which they approached the session was giving you a real case, and then basically just like we discussed how we resolve the problems here, what's the issues, what do you think, how we can move this forward, etc., etc. So like learn it in a practical way, and then think of, and also you discuss with other people, and you can see how other students think about on these topics, which maybe perhaps you didn't really think about in the first instance. And then solicitor would then give you, the feedbacks, etc. And that was really, really interesting. It's very interactive and a very systematic and practical way.
And when you compared yourself and your knowledge with those other students, did you feel intimidated? Did you feel that you are more or less of the same level? Where, if you remember the feelings and the emotions that you had?
So I found really, really confident because I thought myself, oh my God, I didn't have the academic background, it's been almost 2 years since I touched upon MCT. I was really, really scared. But then when I went to those sessions or tutorials, I found actually I'm really good because I almost know every single answer and I got that right. So that really boosted my confidence pretty much straight away. And also I can see, I benchmark myself with the other students. I can see, okay, I'm doing well. I just need to keep pushing. I'm on the right, correct track.
So I guess you participated in the discussions, right? Did you give answers when you were encouraged to do it? Did you participate actively in those OSGSs?
I volunteered myself pretty much every single question. And in the end, I found probably I talked too much. I had to pause that. So yes, I think the more you contribute, the more actually you learn because you put self out there. Obviously, it's difficult because people might think, oh, other people might judge me, or maybe my questions, my answers are not correct. But actually, there was no judging there, and everybody was super happy about your contribution. And then the more you put yourself out there, the more you learn, and actually you won't forget the answers and the feedbacks you got because you actually learn it from like first hand.
Excellent. So we have another component, another ingredient of success, participating in group interactions and group studies, right? And in particular, active learning, not just listening passively, but learning actively and generating this content. Earlier, you touched upon legal theatre. That is also another project that is launched and maintained by OSCEsmart. And how did this legal theatre contribute to your preparation in the SQE2, Celeste?
The first thing I found really useful was the mock session was quite difficult. I sort of thinking, okay, I took that as an opportunity for myself to learn. I put myself in the shoes of the interviewee, and I think if I got these questions, what I would answer. So it gave me the opportunity to do another mock test, even I didn't really, participate physically. That's the first thing I found. I gained one mock test. And the second thing I found was really useful is I see how the interviewee present his interview, the way she did was very different from my style, but I took every single bit which I found was useful, and then I incorporate into my approach going forward. So I thought that was really useful. And then the third bit was the feedback in the end, because you and also Oliver, we both talk through all the knowledge bits and also skill pieces as well. I compared what I would say if I were there with the answers I received from you guys, and then I see, what's the gaps here, what I need to do. So in these three, aspects, I found really useful, even though I was just listening, and that was really, really useful.
Exactly, and that's the idea that was behind this project, legal theater, to let the candidates watch another candidate, real life candidate, do an interview realistically without rehearsals, stumbling sometimes, failing to elicit some information, sometimes making mistakes and learning. But that also applies to the audience. The audience is also learning. So I'm really happy to hear that you somehow benefited from this without any fear, without feeling at risk, because you were not the one who was performing in front of everyone. So it was a low risk situation for everybody in the audience, but at the same time, it was another opportunity to learn. Yes, thank you. That was really something that makes all this experience very rewarding for us. I also want to ask you about whether you experienced any language issues, because sometimes, especially in written mocks, we can see that candidates are struggling with expressing themselves in English, in proper English. It's not everyday English, it's something different. Do you have anything to say in this respect? Any suggestions for candidates, for people who are thinking of taking up SQE1, SQE2?
My first language is not English, so I can really relate myself to the people who struggled or are struggling with speak or writing in English. So but luckily, because I work in the UK, so English is sort of like my working language, and also I work as a solicitor, as a old training solicitor. So I knew how to sort of phrase my thoughts, how to present my ideas in the mock test. But I did found myself when I wrote my answers, I didn't really structure it in a very clear way. Sometimes it could be misleading or misunderstanding for for the people who actually seeing your answers. And so I think I would encourage the people who, especially the people who first language is not English, I would highly recommend people to just to conduct as many mock tests as possible, especially, and also not just doing the mock test once. If you're doing once, okay, just stay, like, leave it alone for maybe a couple of weeks, and then you can always come back and then do it again and again, and you will always find something you forgot, and then that is where you can learn.
You mean that you can learn from mocks in two ways. You can learn in a legal way, and for non-native speakers of English, you can also learn the language, which is appropriate in these situations.
Yes,
Right. But
exactly.
generally, do you think that non-native speakers of English, before starting preparation for the SQE, have to pay attention to whether their English is good enough for them to take this examination? Do they need to upgrade their legal English or their English skills in general? What do you think?
I think it really depends. So, for example, students, if they are studying in university, they have time, to really take their language level to the next, then of course they should always, upgrading their English to as far as possible. But I guess for most candidates who are willing or who are intending to participate in SQE2 or SQE1, they don't really actually have the much time to actually say, oh, I'm just going to practice my English without doing anything else. It's really not efficient in my way, but also not going to be helpful, because without actually immerse yourself into the SQE preparation, you can actually really learn proper legal English. And that's where I learned. My English was not great when I started my MCT, but my English since then I started. It's just improved significantly. I think that's because of reading and also listening and also practicing. That all helped.
All right. And now I know, and you have referred to this already today, that you are a foreign qualified lawyer, right? That
Mhm.
means that before the SQE, you already had an established career. So can you tell us a little bit of what you used to do and what you are doing now?
Yeah, of course. So I came to the UK in 2018 to study my second master degree in law. So before I came to the UK, I worked in a court as a junior judge, sort of like equivalent to the district judge in the UK in a county court. And my expertise was in civil litigations. So yeah, and I spent 5 years working as a in a court in civil litigation, and then I came here. I studied, and then I graduated and joined a law firm in the UK. And my job is provide legal services to a UK investment bank. And also, I'm a team lead of five. So I also deliver trainings and also answering queries and helping my team members to proceed their professional goals. That's what I'm doing.
And so do you feel that because of the SQE2, now that you've passed it, this career is propelled forward? Is there any boost to your career? What are the changes that have happened in your professional life?
Yeah, I'm so glad you asked this question because SQE, passing SQE is definitely a life changer for me, in the sense that, so many career doors suddenly just opened. Because since I passed my SQE, a lot of like job opportunities just came to my way. And now I've got the chance to actually choose what I want and what I would like to do. But before I passed my SQE, basically the options were very limited. So I'm so glad I chose to, push myself and pass SQE.
Yes,
Yeah.
and then we all are very happy for you because, we feel that you gave up a lot when you came to study and then to change your professional, perhaps, field, right? You came to the UK, there were studies, then there was preparation for one exam, for another exam. So now that you feel rewarded, it's great. It's perhaps the thing that makes everything meaningful.
Yeah, and hard work, does pay off. So yeah, you just don't give up. That's what I had in my mind, and I'm so glad I went through all these challenges.
Yes, that's true. Yeah, absolutely. It was worth it. All right. So, Celeste, is there any final, perhaps, message to the audience, to those who are going to watch us? Is there any message that you have for them to motivate future candidates, to help them in this difficult journey? Because indeed, it's very challenging and it's challenging for everyone.
Yeah, of course. So I think the first message I would like to share is I think when we all experience those tough times, always think about and also remind yourself where you started and why you started this journey. It's really important to remind yourself, your goal and where you started basically, because that would, motivate you. Keep going. And the second message I would share is when you struggle, I think it's really important to give yourself a bit of time. Don't let those emotions control you. And you can always step out in this situation and then maybe give yourself a little bit break. And there are tons of helps and options out there. For example, OSCEsmart, there's always people who you can ask help for. So don't feel like you fight this war yourself. We're all on the same journey. So it's really important to ask help, and then that is absolutely okay. And the final thing I would like to share the message is doing SQE, I didn't see it as a challenge. I also see it as a life journey. SQE is just like a life journey. It always has ups and downs. It's okay. And when you go through it, you look back. The thing I feel really grateful is I didn't regret I started. It actually giving me a new opportunity to actually see the potential, the new me, the new me which I didn't think was existed or possible. And when you go through these challenges and you really see the sky can be the limit. There's so many things you can do. So just don't give up. That's the final message I would say. So I hope, all the audience and the people who dream to pass the SQE their dream will come true, and they will come true if you put the right time and the right efforts and in this journey. Yeah.
Yes, I'm joining you, Celestine, wishing good luck to all the candidates watching this video and thinking of taking the SQE. Good luck on your journeys to this exam and to this landmark. And I totally agree with you, Celestine. I'm very grateful for this message because it's very inspiring to see not the challenges but the opportunities and that they open. Obviously, that your efforts open, right? And also to put things in the perspective. Remember where you are coming from and why you are going in the direction that you are going in.